Welcome to Wargroove. This is just a quick and dirty QP match. So I'm going Valder as P1 on a stage that rather favors P1, so I feel like I have the advantage here. I am playing into Ragna, and whenever I see a Valder, I do like to go Ragna, just because you can use the skeletons to charge your Ragna groove and then stomp on all the skeletons. It's a lot of fun. But really, I feel like I have the big time advantage here. Valder's very strong on this map because you can go top and then spawn an army to bring with you. So if any of the mermen try to walk on that river there, you can just skeleton into it, kill the merman, get the merman advantage. Or if Ragna doesn't bring any skeletons top, you can like attack a village and cap a village. There's just so much benefit to having all those extra skellies. And odds are I'm going to get huge benefits from them before Ragna ever gets groove. That's what I'm thinking. Now, what I really need to do is wagon down mermen and try to get control of those bottom villages before Ragna does. It's the best way to abuse P1 on this map. The benefit of being P2 really is that you'll get to the barracks first, but that's fine because you can't really use the barracks to push that heavily because I've got a barracks right there, and if you push into me, you're going to be pushing into my pikes, you're going to be pushing into my whatever I want to build. So it's pretty easy for me to defend my barracks, and I think getting a merman first is a much bigger advantage on these naval maps. Alright, it's my turn. Pretty standard capture phase. My commander goes for that port because I want that as quick as possible. And I'm going to build a wagon, unquestionably. The reason you want to build a wagon on this turn is so that you can position it perfectly for your mermen on your next turn. Let's see if I screw this up, because I always screw this up. Alright, now it's my opponent's turn, and they're going to do exactly the same thing. I'm going to go for that port, because that merfolk advantage, it's just so strong. I think I've been saying mermen, but it's really merfolk. The mer peoples. Alright, we've got a wagon there. And Ragnar moves it to the perfect position. Look at that. The reason you want to move it there is because if you build a merfolk directly on that patch of land, the merfolk can go down and step on only river tiles right up to the wagon. So you get the maximum possible distance. And I just messed up. Oh, that's okay. I won't get the maximum possible distance. I'll get like one less square, but it'll still be cool. I bet that won't come back to bite me at all. I bet that won't even matter. Totally not going to matter. Alright, so you might notice that my opponent is taking a really fast turn. That's kind of not the case. I'm cheating a little bit using the magic of video editing technology. They actually took forever on this turn. They did pretty good. Like, if you see that pike coming out with the wagon and where that sword is positioned, they're actually stopping me from trying to invade their beachhead. Because what I really wanted to do was walk my mermen down. You see, I was supposed to put the wagon there. I fubbed that. I really fubbed that. And as a result, it's quite possible that that cost me a little bit of... So if I were to drop the mermen anywhere here, it would get destroyed by that sword and that pike. And it would just die. I was like debating doing it anyway, but maybe I could like go in and weaken them enough so the merfolk could survive and then still steal the enemy villages, but it just wasn't gonna happen. So I kind of decided against it, and I'm just gonna wagon my merfolk down to my own villages, capture them, and call it a day. I really shouldn't have done that. What I should have done was moved him to the left village so that he could kind of work his way over. But I still wasn't sure what my opponent was going to do. Like, maybe I'd capture my right village and then go for their villages, right? So I wanted to leave that option open. That's why I wagoned him over to the far village. Right, so from here on out, it's pretty straightforward. I don't have a lot of gold. There's not a lot I can do. I'm just going to make swords and pikes, because while we're low on gold, we really don't want to miss any builds. Every turn, we've got to pop out a merfolk. We've got to, because losing even one merfolk early is death. It's game over. Think about it. If I've got 3 merfolk and my opponent has 2, I can go on the attack, hit one of their merfolk, lose one of mine in the counterattack, now it's 2 to 1. We keep going like that, eventually I have merfolk, they don't, right? I win. And the lead just snowballs. So we gotta build a merfolk every turn. We've got to build units. We want to try not to miss builds. I'm going to use my forward barracks mostly for making pikes. I'm going to want to try to get as many pikes as possible. Oh, here I'm capturing the sea village first because I think it'll come under attack first, so I want to give it the most health. And I'm going to have my merfolk capture the right of that village in case I want to go right, but I'm still 5 spaces away from my mid village in case I want to just get econ instead of trying to steal my opponent's econ. So right here what I'm doing, it's pretty straightforward. Just pike line in the forest, defend, keep my units just out of their range. Like, they could hit me if they really want to, but I'll win the counterattack. I'm not really trying to bait them, more prevent them from being able to attack me. Now notice I don't put my spear into the wagon because that wouldn't make any sense. I want the spear I just built to go into the wagon on my next turn. That's way more efficient, and the spear that moved can move past the wagon. That gives you the most movement. What I see a lot of people do is they'll put the wagon back and then instantly move a unit into it. And you're just missing out on movement that way. There's really no reason to do it. So everything I do now is pretty much just reacting to my opponent and beating whatever they do. They're going in on me. Alright, so since they chose to attack me right next to my barracks, I'm gonna have fun just doing as much damage as possible. Nice. The fact that that pike lived is so great because it'll help me set up crits. Not that I need it necessarily, because I have that other pike I can wagon over to set up crits. Ooh, lots of pikes. Lots of pikes. That's actually pretty scary. I'm gonna have to do some work there. And try to pick off a few of those pikes so they don't get too close, but I'm fine. I'm fine, because I have 2 pikes on the left coming in, and my opponent built an archer, which is really scary there, but on the other hand, they missed 2 builds. They didn't make a merfolk, and we talked about that. That's a big no-no. You can't, like, not make a merfolk on this map early on. That's just no. Now I'm gonna win the War of the Merfolk. Alright, so I get a little lazy here, like, I just start lulls moving units, and there is probably a better way to do this. I set up a crit on someone that I didn't necessarily need a crit to kill, and then I end up attacking the stronger one with my sword, and now because I put the pike there, I suddenly, like, don't have pike crit, but it's fine. This was a fine way to go about it. And you're on the timer, it's quick play, everything's good. Now I sent that guy back to heal. You should always heal your units, especially in a situation like that where you need a lot of units. One thing Valder players often mess up is they're like, oh, I have groove. I definitely have to use sword crit and hit that village, and then your enemy just charges their groove off your sword. That's terrible. That's like, you didn't get any benefit from that. I probably could have done it anyway, and then Ragnar would have been down a village, but I didn't want to charge her groove, and it was more beneficial for me to just have that free sword running around. Sometimes there's a case to be made for aggressive Valder. I mean, that's what Valder's for, after all. Now here, I'm still not going for the archer, because I don't want to miss builds. That's my big thing right now. I'm going to make a sword, because it's going to walk over there, the wagon won't help. And of course, more merfolk. Now, like, I'm trying to figure out, do I want to go down with the merfolk or right? I'm going to go to the right, because my wagon's not really ready. And if I can get more merfolk than my opponent, because they've been missing merfolk builds very badly. And they don't even have a merfolk capturing their lower villages, so they're going to get hugely denied on income soon. Now I'm just going to wait, because if I move forward too far, I can be in threat range of their merfolk, and I'm not ready for that yet. I want to build kind of like more merfolk, like hoard a little bit of merfolk, and then once I have more, I'll start pressing forward. I'll start threatening villages. Besides, I'm about to get a big income advantage because my opponent never sent merfolk down. They rushed that archer, right? But as you can see, rushing my barracks was kind of a mistake. I'm up on income, I'm way up on unit count, and it doesn't really look like they're going to break my line, even with all the pikes they have. Like, they can do a lot of damage, but I'm going to live it and be able to counterattack. It's kind of just wasting pikes by, like, just throwing them into me. You're not getting this Rax. You're just not getting it. And even if you knock it down and I wipe out your army, what does it matter? Everything here is an infantry. I could just capture it back. And suddenly it's back at 5 health. It's like, there's really nothing to be gained by what they're doing, just like shoving their pikes into my pikes. Uh, it's doing damage to me, but as long as I have econ, this isn't worth it for you, right? They're playing like they have the econ advantage, and they don't. You want war and chaos when you have the econ advantage because you want to whittle down your opponent's forces, but they don't have it. Oh, that was a great wagon block. Because look at that. I could have destroyed their pikes if that wasn't there, and that wagon makes it a little bit more difficult. That being said, it doesn't really matter. I'm still going to be able to deal tons of damage to their pikes, and I might even be able to take this wagon, which means they'll have no wagon, so they won't be able to keep reinforcing this attack they're so committed to at this point. Ooh, Ragna going down is a little bit of a threat, because if Ragna joins that fight, Ragna can kill the infantry pretty easy, get groove, and then wipe out my army there, take the racks, and if I lose that racks with Ragna present, I won't be able to just take it back. Then I've lost the racks. The enemy can start building there and taking me out. So that's kind of a threat if Ragna can join the fight. But on the other hand, Ragna just abandoned topside, and I'm Valder. So you're giving Valder complete access to your villages, and we're still in the capturing phase, sort of. I guess we're just coming out of it now. They finally built that merfolk to go down, but it's too late. You've let me have this econ advantage for so many turns, and you just abandoned your villages to me. I will take full advantage of this. So Ragna can't actually attack me if I stand here. So even if both merfolk go after me, I'm fine. I'm totally fine. Now, my opponent has 2 merfolk there and 1 going down. I want to pressure them right now. Pressure them with a merfolk war on top. The reason is because I want to force that merfolk that they just built to not go down. Because if it doesn't go down, that's 3 villages that they will never ever get. Right? So I'm basically saying, hey, either commit to this fight on top, and lose the 3 south villages, or go get those south villages, but I will wipe out your army on top and take out some top villages and eventually your port. Now I'm placing this sword a bit out of the way. The reason I didn't capture that village is because if I did, Ragna could just go back and take it from me, and then she'll get tons of groove for killing the village, and I really didn't want that. Yeah, it lived, but to be fair, I kind of deserve that living from what happened previously where my pike lived. Alright, tons of damage. They still have an archer and 1 pike that can hurt me. The wagon's pretty weakened. I've successfully defended. They have failed to drive me off this racks. You really can't just early game rush a racks with 1 other racks. What are you going for there? They had great aggression, they had great timing, their pikes hit all at once, but it didn't matter because my pikes are just a hop, skip, and a jump away. Now I've finished taking my south villages. I'm tons of econ up on my opponent. I've got 3 villages up in the south, and 1 village of theirs taken out on top. It's 400 gold every turn. Being 400 gold up is crazy, and I have huge unit count advantage because they've been diving my racks and missing builds, and it hasn't been paying off. If you're gonna miss a build, you really need to make it worth it, right? You need that Treb or that Golem, something that will force me to play badly. You need tempo, but they miss builds for an archer that hasn't gotten to attack anything yet. Not worth it, right? And now I have an archer, so it didn't really matter. Our archers will enter the fight at the same time. Yeah, you just don't want to miss a build for the sake of an archer. An archer is an assist unit. It's like a have more unit. An archer can help you break a pipeline, maybe, or soften a wagon, maybe. But you don't miss a build for an archer. I see what they were going for, and it would have been really good if the situation were a little bit different, if maybe I was a bit more pushed. But while charging me, the archer on this map is just out of range, even if you build it all the way to the left. So unfortunately, that wasn't quite going to work in this situation. Especially since I've just been playing back and reacting this whole time, and that's all I need to do. Player 1 does have first turn advantage on this map. So if you're attacking me, I can kind of just chill and take advantage of that advantage. Alright, it's pretty clear that on my turn I'm just going to wipe out this pike line. I can't hit the archer, but I can ignore the archer because the archer is going to have to run away or get wiped by my pike line. I still have that back wagon. I can bring something forward. The only real threat is Ragna. I cannot let Ragna get too close, because if Ragna gets too close, that could be scary. Ragna could take out my archer. Ragna could take out my barracks. Ragna could actually farm my barracks. And if I start like suiciding these units into Ragna, who will be standing on forest, then Ragna's going to get groove without a doubt. So my biggest objective is to stall Ragna from getting groove. I want to be winning the game before Ragna gets groove. That's the goal here. Yeah, that was unfortunate, but what can you do? What can you do? That's the name of the game when you're going for those. Alright, so now I go for that very nice Valder crit. That's pretty much Valder's signature attack right there. Because, I mean, the merfolk on land, that was just perfect. That was, like, right in front of me. I'm trying to figure out the quickest way to the fight, and I think the quickest way is right there, because then I can walk across the river. If Ragna decides to turn back, I can attack her. Yeah, there goes that wagon. I should probably have used the archer first, but... Oh, no. Yeah, because then I can use the archer to take out their archer, and that's more beneficial. That's more beneficial. There we go. Lots of damage to their archer. So I've pretty much taken out their attack at this point, and now my merfolk can just kind of go over there and start harassing their merfolk. Maybe try to slow down the capture of those south villages. Now I can just kind of go ham with my units. I'm going to stay a little bit conservative because I really don't have to attack. Like I said, that Rax is really hard to take, even with the advantage I now have. Rushing their racks would be difficult. And Ragna's coming. I want to keep everybody clustered, make it really punishing for Ragna to go in on me. Because if where I put that 2 health sword, Ragna's going to be able to attack something, so I might as well go forward with that unit anyway. It's not like I'm giving her more fodder. Then I'm going to build an alchemist, because Ragna's going to be standing on the forest, so free crits. Plus the alchemist can heal my pikes if they get too low or a little bit low. All in all, pretty good. I think I've definitely got this game in the bag. My opponent has saved up a lot of gold. Maybe they're trying to get like a Treb or a Golem or a warship or something. Any of those would be pretty threatening right now. Like a warship would kind of deter me on top. They went to heal the archer instead. That I think was a misplay because that archer, like I said, an archer is a support unit and they have almost nothing down there. You can't really support like Ragna with an archer. If you're supporting a commander, you really want a mage. But like, yeah, an archer supports like an army of pikes, an army of swords. I don't think that gold was worth it. Because I can just march my pikes forward on that archer, right, and take it down again. Or I could just ignore it again. It'll take a few turns to get back to me or it could threaten me. Ragna's kind of my focus now. I want to like start doing damage to Ragna, make her a little bit scared. If I can do enough damage to Ragna before she gets groove, it'll take her a few turns to go back to that Rax and heal. And if she grooves into me, she dies, right, if I get her down to like 5 health. You can't groove into an army where you're at 5 health. They'll suicide into you and take you out. Oh, there we go. There's that mage. So they did build a mage to support the commander. They're definitely going on the Ragna play right now. They skipped merfolk build again, but they built a pike and moved the wagon back to support it. So they're still committing to taking down my Rax. I think what they're going for now is, okay, if I can get Ragna groove, I still have a chance to take out this army. I still have a chance to take out that Rax. And if I steal the Rax, then I can push for the stronghold, maybe build a knight, right? Unfortunately, my horde of mermen and Valder just spawning these infantry is too powerful. I'm like a turn away from stealing the north villages. Alright, let's see how much damage I can do. So I'm just going to go ham. I'm just going to take everything, like as much as I can. I can take out that merfolk, but I kind of don't need to. And what I really want to do is press forward as much as possible. Like every unit as forward as possible. So I use that sword that I built the previous turn to soften that village so Valder can take it out. Now Valder has groove again. and it's just great. Like that's the one of the reasons you want to keep the swords Valder makes alive, not just treat them as, oh well, I used a groove to make it, so it's free, right? It's not exactly how that works. It's an important unit. It's very valuable. It just got me this village kill and gave a Valder groove, because just attacking the village wouldn't have done it. It's really powerful to just have the swords lying around. Look, that other sword I made previously just finished off that merfolk. So yeah, when you're playing Valder, don't treat your swords as disposable, Care for your skeletons. Skeletons are important, they matter, treat them well, and they will treat you well. I don't quite know how, but they will, trust me. I'm trying to figure out like the best and safest way to just do tons of damage to Ragna. And the timer's ticking, so I kind of just go for it. I don't know if this was really the best way to go about it. But like, I kind of don't need the best way, like I was saying, as long as I win on top and don't let Ragna get to my barracks, nothing else really matters. Now thinking about it, I want that dude to attack me, because if he attacks me, ooh, I should have moved forward more. If he attacks me, I can go back and heal, and then he has to go back and heal. And that's like 2-3 more turns minimum that he has not captured 2 more south villages. So I should have gone even more forward in his range, like threatened their village, like be like, attack me or I will attack your village. And if they did attack me, then I can back up and heal, and then they have to back up, and I've successfully stalled them. Then it only cost me like 150 gold to put them back. God knows how much gold. What, like 200 every turn for how many turns? But it probably doesn't even come to that. At this point, I'm like, well, I can nuke Ragna, but my alchemist will die. And then I decide I don't care. I have a golem, Ragna's super low, and I have destroyed their top villages. This is pretty much game. Like, I have double their unit count, double their income. It's kind of over at this point. The only real hope is if I somehow leave Valder in a position where he can get lethaled by merfolk. But having done that to other people, I'm pretty careful about not letting that be done to me. Alright, yeah, there's the surrender. Great game, great game. Alright, so this is a new series, just me posting quick play videos I've run through, editing them a bit to speed them up, commentating on them. If you've got any comments about the match, if you have a much better opening strategy that you've seen or tried on this map, let me know in the comments below. Also, I'd be happy to answer any questions about war grooves, strategies, or tactics. Leave a like if you feel so inclined, and check out my future videos. I'll see you next time.